Come on, Discord. Oh my gosh. There we go.
Reminds me I need to send Brad money.
Money, eh?
Yes.
Okay. We streaming. Oh shit, I gotta get my laptop so I can get the guide up. Give me a sec, I'll be right back.
Hey.
Get to listen to the beautiful fairy fountain music too.
Did I get paid? What's going on here? Oh no.
Okay. Still wondering if Bella stank. Yeah, I'm thinking Bella was kind of stinky. Okay, I know exactly what we're supposed to be doing. So we just did the Postman's mini game, which Tara very gracefully sat through. We also did both shooting galleries, which was cool as hell. Oh, okay, I remember what we're doing now. We have to do... You have to do...
I'm sorry, that was me. Sorry.
We have to do the Deku's mini game every day now. We could do Honey and Darlings.
Honey and Darlings?
Yes, it's called. They're like a dancing couple that has a mini game that you play.
Sure, let's dance.
Gather some more rupees or pull some and head over. There's a shop. Oops. These next two mini games are the 3-day games. Okay, so we gotta do Honey and Darling. Oh, I hope I didn't miss the time to do that. Oh, I forgot we gotta do this.
Oh! Sorry.
Tara got bit up. Whoops.
I got fucking bit.
Uh,
You can't see it.
Wait. Wait. No. That's how you slow the speed of time. Whoa. That's how it feels to be working. That's not the right way. Okay, I don't think Honey and Darling's game is over here.
He's moving so fast.
He is, because he's wearing the bunny hood. Tara, if you had a bunny hood, you'd be walking that fast.
Yeah, that would be so cool.
He would be. He does look like a Playboy bunny.
Right.
Right. That's the treasure chest shop. Don't want to do that one. Is this Honey and Darlings? Yep, that's it. Ah! Damn it. Alright, whatever. We'll just have to do the Decker game. Damn, I should have known. I didn't read ahead. Alright, so we'll just do the Deku one. We have to go to the shop so we can talk to the Scarecrow man. This is not where I meant to go, but what is this place? Sorry, I don't serve masqueraders. But, oh, people don't like when you wear masks in this game for some reason.
Filthy mask wearer.
Yeah, he didn't like that. I actually don't remember this guy's story. If I recall, though, this is the guy who tries to steal the bomb bag from that old lady that we saved. So, like, if he gets to steal it, it ends up in that store. There you are. I swear we had a Twitch, what do you call it, title that referred to Bella's period before.
Oh, no, definitely. Maybe more than one.
Oh, that's right. Okay. Oh, he doesn't like when you do that.
When you...
He doesn't like when you just play a bunch of straight notes.
Oh.
Dun dun dun. Dun. I shouldn't have done that. Okay. That way we don't need to keep coming here. Unfortunately, you do have to teach the Scarecrow a song every single time. Oh, so tell me about your book.
It's called One Dark Window. And it's about, let's see. So it takes place in like this alternate reality, fantasy world. And it's about this, there's like this mist, and there's a legend of the spirit of the wood and the shepherd king.
Mm-hmm.
And the magic system in this world is there's like 13, well 12, but really 13. The 13th card is like a legend. It's called the Twin Alders card. But there's 12 cards, and in order to like lift the mist, not only is there a mist, but there's also like a plague. If you get caught in the mist, you have a chance to like catch the infection, is what they call it.
Oh,
and
fuck.
what happens when you catch the infection is like your blood gets poisoned and you degenerate, and basically it just means that like die slowly, but also you're granted like, it's weird. It's like you're granted magical abilities, but as your magical abilities get stronger while you're infected, you also die in the process. So everyone who gets infected eventually, like their fate is death. And
Damn.
so, but everyone's magic that gets infected, it's different for everyone. And so this girl Elspeth, she gets infected when she's like a kid, and her magical ability is that she's able to absorb other Providence cards, and she accidentally absorbs the Nightmare card, and what happens is she
Damn it!
she accidentally touches the Nightmare card, and she gets the Nightmare is absorbed into her, and so she basically has like this monster inside her head that talks to her, and she's kept it a secret pretty much her whole life. And so it's weird when and by the way, the king basically kills everyone who's infected because
Damn it. Yeah.
I guess she can't have people that are infected walking around the kingdom or something like that. There's no reason for the killing. It's senseless killing. But it's, I guess, like a threat to the kingdom. And yeah, so if you get infected, you better hide your kids, hide your wife, because they're gonna fucking kill you and your family if your family is caught hiding you. So Elspeth is our main character, and she gets infected at the ripe age of like 9 or 10. And she almost dies, but she makes a miraculous recovery. And then
Just like me.
her dad sends her to live with her aunt and uncle, and he kind of hides her. He's like, go away, run away, leave, and stay with your aunt and uncle. And he kind of just tells her to get the fuck out. So that to save her. I mean, he could have gone about it a different way, but that's what they decided to do. And so she was raised by her aunt and uncle for the latter half of like her childhood. And she's kind of like a hermit because she stays away from the public because the public is aware that she was infected, but people are kind of weirded out because she doesn't display any magical abilities, and so people just think that people assume that she recovered from the illness and was granted no magical abilities, therefore she's not really a threat. And that's what she tells everybody, but she knows that she does have magical abilities, but it's just super fucked up. She's got a monster living inside her brain. So what happened is her aunt suggests that she come to the castle. She's like, Elspeth, you need to like live your life instead. I think you should go to the gathering at the castle that the king is holding, and so that you can mingle with your peers and other people, and people can see you. You need to stop living in the woods, and you need to come and hang out with actual people. And so she begrudgingly goes because her cousin Jan wants to go, and she's not infected. Her cousin's not infected. She's normal. She's like a couple years older than her. She's sweet, and she'd do anything for her cousin. She loves her cousin, so she begrudgingly decides to go, and she kind of gets swept up in this crazy situation. Before going to the castle, she's like walking on in the woods alone, as she normally does, and she gets attacked by this bandit crew of highwaymen, and she gets away, but they know who she is. They expected her to be there because someone with magical abilities, I think there's like a prophecy card or something like that told them that this really important person is going to be walking down the woods on this day, and she's going to be paramount to helping the family put together the deck. And the only way to lift the mist and the infection, per legend, per the book of the spirit of the woods or some shit.
Yeah.
You say, get all 12 Providence cards. You need all 12 Providence cards, basically, to lift the plague. So they need to collect the full deck. And so they get her, and she gets away, but then when she goes back to the castle, they know exactly who she is. And so they kind of capture her, sorta, and try to calmly explain to her after being like, I'm not a fucking threat. Like, I'm sorry that I attacked you on the road, but this dude named Raven, he's like the prince. He's like, yeah, he's one of the princes or whatever. He kind of helps explain why they did what they did and try to get her to help them. So one of her abilities, but basically what she tells them, her magical ability is, it's not technically her actual ability. She can see the Providence cards. They cast a certain color per each card. And that's kind of a good guise as to like what her actual ability is. The person that can really see the colors of the cards is the monster inside of her.
Yeah.
And so she like lies and she says like, I can do this. This is my magic. And they're like, dude, you are who we need. The prophecy was right. You can help us find the cards. You can literally see them from like inside people's pockets. Like, we'll need you for this. Will you help us? Like, you are sick. Oh, and by the way, Raven, the prince, he's also sick. She finds that out a little bit later. He's also infected, and his degeneration is just slower, like hers. For some people it happens like very, very quickly. For others, the degeneration like lasts a decade or longer. And so, they're all just slowly dying. And so she agrees to help them because she's like, I can save, this would save Raven, this would save me, this would also save Emery, this young prince, that none of these people deserve to die. So yeah, she's like, yes, I will help you. Like, I think I can trust you guys. I will help you. And so she goes on this quest with these traitors of the king. So it's like Raven, he's like the nephew to the king. His cousin Elm, his sister, and then his aunt and uncle. So it's like these members of the family that are kind of like staging like a coup, basically, to like get all these cards, and doing it behind the king and the prince's back to get the second to the throne. And that's pretty much the whole plot. They do end up getting almost all the cards. It left on a cliffhanger, so like they have not lifted the plague and the mists and the weird fucked up magic that's been around for hundreds of years. But it seems like they're getting there. But basically, like so every single time that Elspeth asks the monster for help, like it seems like they have like a good repertoire going. I mean, she gets kind of annoyed with him and he gets annoyed with her, whatever, but it seems like they've come to an understanding where like he has saved her life several times, but he's kind of like morally, you kind of question him sometimes, like, wait, he has helped her though, but that's like a good person thing to do. However, I think this could potentially be all only for his benefit. So it could mean absolutely fucking nothing. I kind of want the shepherd. We find out that the monster inside of her head is actually the shepherd, which is like a big revelation.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's interesting. It's interesting. Like the more she asks for help, the more she degenerates, and the stronger the monster becomes. So by the end of the book, she's pretty much like the monster's just getting louder and controlling her more every day. And then finally, when she's like on the brink of death, she's like, help me. Like I know that this is probably going to be the last time that I'll be able to ask for help, and like then I might be gone forever, but like, can you just at least like promise me that you will help these guys before I die, or wherever the fuck I'm gonna go? And he agrees. He's like, I will help them. And so that's where we're at. Like, the fucking monster has completely taken over her body. Elspeth is gone, but her body is still alive, and it's just a different person that's controlling it now.
Whoa.
And it is the Shepherd of the Wood from the legend 500 years ago. He's the one that, like, is responsible for pretty much unleashing, or one of the people in the party responsible for all this bullshit that's going on. But I kind of, like, am on his side, because apparently the Shepherd is supposed to be the king, and there was, like, a usurper, and the Shepherd's out for fucking revenge. So it's interesting. Also, he's helping Elspeth and her friend. So I don't know what, like, I know his motives, but also, is he completely evil? I don't know.
Is that part of the cliffhanger? Like,
No,
not knowing
like,
his intentions?
Yeah, like, no, that is definitely, like, I mean, that's part of, yeah, yes it is. Not knowing his intent. I mean, the whole time you're kind of questioning it, like, he does kind of rub in her face, like, I've saved you, though. I've saved you a bunch of times. And he does kind of, like, root for her a little bit. And like, he has moments of, like, humanity,
Yeah.
Where, you know, he just kind of, like, rolls his eyes when, you know, a boy is, like, trying to get Elspeth to sit with his family. Like, I've asked your father's permission. And he's just like, oh my fucking god. You know? So, yeah, he has moments of, like, you are still a person. There's still a person in there. But he takes the form of, like, this weird wolf hound creature.
It sounds very similar to the other book.
Oh, maybe. Yeah.
That also kind of sounds a little similar to, ew, look at these things. It sounds a little similar to, excuse my inner anime nerd, but Jujutsu Kaisen. Like, he has the King of Demons. He's like a really valiant dude, like, really cool guy. Like, he just wants to live to help others. And, he has no idea what he's getting himself into. And so at the beginning of the story, he swallows... They live in a world of, like, kind of hidden demons and shit like that. And, like, the way that curses and, like, real events are explained is that it's demons just hiding behind things that, like, people are scared of. But there are also cursed objects. Like, the most cursed object is this guy named... Oh, gosh. Something... Starts with an S. Fuck, I can't remember. Either way, he had all of his fingers chopped off or whatever. And every place that holds one of his fingers is, like, super cursed. And his school is one of them, and he finds a finger. And this demon is trying to get it. So instead of letting the demon have it, he eats it himself. And then the Demon King is reborn inside of him. But because he's such a cool guy and he has such good resolve, he can't fully take over. And so he's kind of like living with this demon inside of him. And everyone's like, you're dangerous. You're fucking dangerous. But he's like, no, I'm not. Anyway, that's a great anime. New season just started.
I do kind of like the idea of, like, I was drawn by the fact that it's just like this girl that has this other person living inside her head.
Sounds like, what's it called? Beyond Two Souls.
Okay, yeah, but like,
I'm fucking around. It does though.
yeah, but in this type of setting, and it was kind of like sold to me as sort of a gothic fantasy as well, which I hadn't read before. So yeah, it has like themes of like, you know, cobwebs and wearing gray, like cemeteries. Like it's darker. It's just like gothy
It's just
vibes.
gothy.
So like I guess sort of dark fantasy, but like all fantasies have dark elements to it. So it really didn't feel that set apart because of that. But yeah, I bought the second book. I mean, I fucking devoured that book in like a couple of days. So, but yeah. Oh, and Raven's ability, the prince, the romantic interest, his magical ability is when he touches a Providence card, it loses its glow, or his ability to use it. So every year he loses the ability to use another Providence card, and that's part of his degeneration. So right now he can only use the Dark Nightmare card, which is like, oh, and the way that you use the cards is you tap it 3 times, and then you can use it. So the only 2 cards you can use is the Nightmare card, and the ability for the Nightmare card is it allows you to enter another person's mind. So that's the card that Elspeth absorbs when she's a kid. She touches it, and then the nightmare just goes and gets sucked into her head. But the real use of it for anybody else is tap it 3 times and you're able to get into anybody's head. But every single time you use a Providence card, everything comes at a price. So there's this card called the Maiden card, and Elspeth's cousin Eon, she gets married to the prince of, like, the second in line to the throne. He's a fucking royal dickhead, and basically the Maiden card, it just grants you like divine beauty. It just makes you perfect physically. But what it takes away is it makes you like, slowly makes you kind of cold-hearted and unfeeling. So just as an example, like, what it gives, it also takes in a different way. The mirror, there's like one called the mirror card. That one's just a card of invisibility. It makes you invisible. But if you use it often enough and long enough, it actually like takes away the veil between the living and the dead. So if you use the mirror card enough, you can actually see, like, you see ghosts and spirits, and the line between the living world and the dead world is like meshed together.
Damn.
Which can be scary. But then some people might like that too, because it's like, oh, but then I can talk to like dead people.
It seems like there's a lot of lore in this world.
All of them are kind of like that, but this one is actually a lot more basic than some of the ones that I have read. Like the Mistborn trilogy, complicated. Very complicated. Like, I've only scratched the surface with the Mistborn trilogy with you. It gets it's really political, so it's really hard to explain because it's all like linear and it takes place like the way that it's told is like this happened and this happened and then this happened and then it doesn't flash back and forth. It's like just this person's over here, meanwhile, and it's all political warfare. Yeah, political warfare, basically. So it's like, I can't explain a book like that without going off the rails a little bit.
I don't know why I can't move forward in time. I've been like running around trying to waste time, but wait. Oh. Fuck, I forgot you could do that. Totally forgot you could just do that. Alright, final Deku. Oh, it's a beautiful morning of the final dawn of the day. Dawn of the final day. Everyone's a little...
I've read 36 books this year, though, so
Holy
far.
moly. I think that's more movies than I've watched. You're crazy, girlie. Good for you. Good
Not
on.
hard.
So humble. Not hard. No, I mean, if you really just set yourself to anything, you can get through it.
The reason I've read so many is because I enjoy it. It's like a relaxing activity for me.
Alright, wish me luck. This is the third of the and final day that I get to set a record for this Deku Flower thing. Alright, how am I gonna do this? Oh! It's okay, I get retries. What's that?
What I'm eating?
Yeah.
Cherry bar.
You're eating it in a bowl?
I mean, yeah, it's just easier this way.
Did you like...
It's crumbly.
It's...
What?
Wait, explain to me what that is again. It's a cherry bowl?
Cherry bar. It's like a cherry pie bar.
Oh, that's interesting. It's tasty? Alright.
Super high in calories. Also expired, but like, it's fine. It said the freshness date was 10/13. Was when to sell by.
Nice. That was probably gonna be the hardest one to get. Oh! I may have fucked up. Oh, I was so close! Damn it. Oh.
I've been trying it this for a while.
Oh, no, this is the, so you're supposed to do this 3 days in a row, and it gets progressively harder each day, and this is the third day.
Nice.
Tara, I'm not that bad of a gamer, alright?
Well, okay.
Nice. Perfect landing.
Perfect 2-point landing.
Nice! Great landing! Oh! Oh no! Where did Louis go? Poor dog. This is good. If he's awake somewhere, that's better off, because it keeps him awake, and then he'll be asleep later. Poor baby.
Yeah, yeah.
He makes me sad, that little dog. Oh, this probably wasn't a good idea. Oh, no, not a bad idea at all, actually. Actually, I'm not gonna do that. Actually might not do this in record time. Nice. Alright. Good. Nice. Alright, last one. That's it. What? Wait, what's
There's
left?
one right there.
Where?
It's right to the right. That one.
Oh! Oh!
Almost didn't get it. But you got it.
Amazing, a new record for 3 days straight? Wow, we've been had. Well, you're obviously a pro and pros can't play here. Take this and don't go back. Yay!
Take this and don't come back.
We got kicked out. They shoved a piece of art in your face so that you'd leave. Okay. Nice. Alright, there's such a youthful face, but we're really dealing with a fierce competitor. Oh, it's Linkless Hyde. Yeah, they won't let you play anymore. Nice. So we did that. Alright. Let's put our money in the bank, and we're gonna do the bomb chew one now. And probably after we're done with the bomb chew, we'll watch them booty you and I. How are you feeling on tired levels right now?
I'm doing okay.
Okay. Okay. Sweet. Alright. Okay. Oh, my items.
So is this Link like the Master of Time or something?
Yep. So this particular Link is the Hero of Time from Ocarina of Time. And at the end of Ocarina of Time, his fairy pal Navi just flies off. And at the beginning of the game, Link is looking for Navi because he's like, where the hell did my fairy go? Because fairies and their... Oh! Fairies and the Kokiri, I think, which is what Link was supposed to be, but it turns out he was a human. Anyway, they're supposed to be bound for life, and Navi gets lost, and he goes looking for him, and instead of finding Navi, he finds Skull Kid, and he gets knocked into an alternate universe. So every single character that you see in this game is an alternate version of the one from Ocarina of Time. Like, all of these guys were carpenters in Kakariko Village. Yeah, like every single character that's in this is in some way some sort of alternate version. Alright, let's do Honey and Darling's game. Honey and Darling. Let me just make sure I'm not missing anything. Okay. There is one more, I think, that we didn't do. I like when everyone asks, like, hey, should I, what do you call, like, protest this red light ticket? Nope, it never works. You're always gonna lose no matter what. Red light tickets, you always lose. I don't think there's been a single case where someone's won one of those.
Did you run a red light?
I did, and it wasn't fair, like, at all. Because I was coming at this intersection, and the light was turning yellow, and there was a bunch of cops blocking off, like, literally the way forward. And so the light was turning yellow, and I was slowing down, and the cops waving me to go through. He's like, go, go, go. And it turned red as I did that, and it fucking took my picture. And I got a thing, and I said to the people, I called the DMV or the court or whoever receives those calls, and I said, hey, you can see the police lights in the video. I had to go that way. She's like, you're not going to win the case. You just pay it and get it over with. Because here's the thing, if you lose the case, not only do you lose the money, but then you also get a tick on your license as well. So you're literally just better off fucking paying the ticket every time. It's a fucking money laundering scheme. Yeah. It's a bit cray. I'm just looking up what I meant to do. Photo contest. Okay. I say we do this after we do Honey and Darling. Is this Honey and Darling? No, that's the treasure chest. That's Honey and Darling. Okay. Gather rupees. Oh, I need to get rupees. I'm broke. I'm flat fucking broke. Hey, buddy. I think that this person was in Hyrule Castle Town in the original. Alright, I'm gonna take out 100. Why not? Alright, so what do we gotta do for Honey and Darling? We allow you to play minigames revolving around a rotating platform that goes up and down, steadily speeds up. You have a limited time to play it. If you're out of time, the game will focus on one time when aim which one you're currently facing. Hit Honey and Darling. When you damage them, it says, hey, that hurts. When it does this, it pauses the timer temporarily. This is particularly useful for the bomb shoe and archery games. In this mini game, you lay up to 4 bomb shoes at a time, which will scare up the walls and explode. Take out the higher ones first, while the platform moves slowly, by aiming a little bit. Okay, I remember this. Yeah, what's cool about this game is stuff does actually happen in real time. This was like out of this world when I was a kid. Like, it blew my mind that games could do this. Like, things are actually happening in real time. Welcome to Honey and Darlings. It looks like we have a visitor, honey. I wonder if it's a customer, darling. Oh, would you like to play? Today's Bomb Shoe Gallery Day, isn't it, darling? Okay. Whoa. Oh, okay. That just so happened to work. Oh. Oh wow, I'm really failing this. I don't remember this being this hard.
You just have to time it right.
Oh god. Is that it?
Nope.
What's up? What's up? Oh. Damn. Three days of gaming. Sounds like a dream.
You know what book I haven't continued reading was Sapiens.
Why? I swear someone was just telling me about that book, and I was like, it's making me want to read it.
I want to go back to read it. Can I read a chapter?
Yeah, absolutely. Oh, damn it.
Alright, where are you, Sapiens? I'm not meaning to open these books. Come on, people.
Damn, dude. What's wrong, little Louie dog? Can't you just sit down? Make yourself comfy, sir. Damn, I suck at this one. I thought this one was easier.
Alright, so I stopped at the what is it? Oh, the agricultural revolution. So this section is called the luxury trap. Let's learn about the luxury trap. So the rise of farming was a very gradual affair spread over centuries and millennia. A band of Homo sapiens, gathering mushrooms and nuts and hunting deer and rabbit, did not all of a sudden settle in a permanent village, plowing fields, sowing wheat, and carrying water from the river. The change proceeded by stages, each of which involved just a small alteration in daily life. Homo sapiens reached the Middle East around 70,000 years ago. For the next 50,000 years, our ancestors flourished there without agriculture. The natural resources of the area were enough to support its human population. In times of plenty, people had a few more children, and in times of need, a few less. Humans, like many mammals, have hormonal and genetic mechanisms that help control procreation. Ooh,
Well,
that's interesting. So in good times, females reach puberty earlier, and their chances of getting pregnant are a bit higher. In bad times, puberty is late and fertility decreases. These natural population controls were added cultural mechanisms. Babies and small children who move slowly and demand much attention were a burden on nomadic foragers. People tried to space their children 3 to 4 years apart. Women did so by nursing their children around the clock and until a late age. Around the clock suckling significantly decreases the chances of getting pregnant. Wow, I didn't know that.
wait,
Other
what?
methods. Yeah, it says around the clock suckling significantly decreases the chances of getting pregnant.
Like, if you have another baby on you, and it's suckling your tit?
Oh yeah, like around the clock.
Oh. What if it was
Like,
just a normal person?
Same. So,
It's okay.
yeah, if you're feeding anyone from your tit, don't be doing it around the clock if you're trying to get pregnant. Other methods include full or partial sexual abstinence, backed perhaps by cultural taboos, abortions, and occasional infanticide. Uh-oh.
Oh.
During these long millennia, people occasionally ate wheat grain, but this was a marginal part of their diet. About 18,000 years ago, the last ice age gave way to a period of global warming. As temperatures rose, so did rainfall. The new climate was ideal for Middle Eastern wheat and other cereals, which multiplied and spread. People began eating more wheat, and in exchange, they inadvertently spread its growth. Since it was impossible to eat wild grains without first winnowing, grinding, and cooking them, people who gathered these grains carried them back to their temporary campsites for processing. Wheat grains are small and numerous, so some of them inevitably fell on the way to the campsite and were lost. Over time, more and more wheat grew along favorite human trails and near campsites because they dropped them.
I'll be right back.
Oopsie.
Keep reading.
Okay. When humans burned down forests and thickets, this also helped wheat. Fire cleared away trees and shrubs, allowing wheat and other grasses to monopolize the sunlight, water, and nutrients. Where wheat became particularly abundant, and game and other food sources were also plentiful, human bands could gradually give up their nomadic lifestyle and settle down in seasonal and even permanent camps. At first, they might have camped for 4 weeks during the harvest. A generation later, as wheat plants multiplied and spread, the harvest camp might have lasted for 5 weeks, then 6, and finally became a permanent village. Evidence of such settlements has been discovered throughout the Middle East, particularly in the Levant, where the Natufian culture flourished from 12,000 BC to 9500 BC. The Natufians were hunter-gatherers who subsisted on dozens of wild species, but they lived in permanent villages and devoted much of their time to the intensive gatherings and processing of wild cereals. They built stone houses and granaries. They stored grain for times of need. They invented new tools such as stone scythes for harvesting wild wheat, and stone pestles and mortars to grind it. In the years following 9500 BC, the descendants of the Natufians continued to gather and process cereals, but they also began to cultivate them in more and more elaborate ways. While gathering wild grains, they took care to lay aside part of the harvest to sow the seeds next season. They discovered that they could achieve much better results by sowing the grains deep in the ground rather than haphazardly scattering them on the surface, so they began to hoe and plow. Gradually, they also started to weed the fields, to guard them against parasites, and to water and fertilize them. As more effort was directed towards cereal cultivation, there was less time to gather and hunt wild species. The foragers became farmers. This is interesting. So, I never knew how they figured out how to farm. How to, plow and, water and cut, you know what I mean? And I guess it started with wheat, and they figured out how to grow wheat efficiently. And they figured out that by burying them deeper, the better results. And then they started hoeing. Cool. So, no single step separated the woman gathering wild wheat from the woman farming domesticated wheat. So it's hard to say exactly when the decisive transition to agriculture took place. But by 8500 BC, the Middle East was peppered with permanent villages such as Jericho, whose inhabitants spent most of their time cultivating a few domesticated species. With the move to permanent villages and the increase in food supply, the population began to grow. Giving up the nomadic lifestyle enabled women to have a child every year. Babies were weaned at an early age. They could be fed on porridge and gruel. The extra hands were sorely needed.
Porridge and gruel. Tara, that sounds really good.
It's just wheat, oh god.
It's wheat and milk, isn't it?
Yeah, like porridge is. The extra hands were sorely needed in the fields, but the extra mouths quickly wiped out the food surpluses, so even more fields had to be planted. As people began living in disease-ridden settlements, as children fed more on cereals and less on mother's milk, and as each child competed for his or her porridge with more and more siblings, child mortality soared. In most agricultural societies, at least 1 out of every 3 children died before reaching 20. Yet the increase in births still outpaced the increase in deaths. Humans kept having larger numbers of children. With time, the wheat bargain became more and more burdensome. Children died in droves, and adults ate bread by the sweat of their brows. The average person in Jericho of 8500 BC lived a harder life than the average person in Jericho of 9500 or 13,000 BC, but nobody realized what was happening. Every generation continued to live like the previous generation, making only small improvements here and there in the way things were done. Paradoxically, a series of improvements, each of which was meant to make life easier, added up to a millstone around the necks of these farmers. Why did people make such a fateful miscalculation? For the same reason that people throughout history have miscalculated. People were unable to fathom the full consequences of their decisions. Whenever they decided to do a bit of extra work, say to hoe the fields instead of scattering seeds on the surface, people thought, yes, we will have to work harder, but the harvest will be so bountiful. We won't have to worry anymore about lean years. Our children will never go to sleep hungry. It made sense. If you worked harder, you would have a better life. That was the plan. The first part of the plan went smoothly. People indeed worked harder, but people did not foresee that the number of children would increase, meaning that the extra weight would have to be shared between more children. Neither did the early farmers understand that feeding children with more porridge and less breast milk would weaken their immune system, and that permanent settlements would be hotbeds for infectious diseases. They did not foresee that by increasing their dependence on a single source of food, they were actually exposing themselves even more to the depredations of drought. Nor did the farmers foresee that in good years their bulging granaries would tempt thieves and enemies, compelling them to start building walls and doing guard duty. Then why didn't humans abandon farming when the plan backfired? Partly because it took generations for the small changes to accumulate and transform society, and by then, nobody remembered that they had ever lived differently, and partly because population growth burned humanity's boats. Um, if the adoption of plowing increased a village's population from 100 to 110, which 10 people would have volunteered to starve so that the others could go back to the good old times? There was no going back. The trap snapped shut. The pursuit of an easier life resulted in much hardship, and not for the last time. It happens to us today. How many young college graduates have taken demanding jobs in high-powered firms, vowing that they will work hard to earn money that will enable them to retire and pursue their real interests when they are 35? But by the time they reach that age, they have large mortgages, children to school, houses in the suburbs that necessitate at least 2 cars per family, and a sense that life is not worth living without really good wine and expensive holidays abroad. What are they supposed to do? Go back to digging up roots? No, they double their efforts and keep slaving away. One of history's few iron laws is that luxuries tend to become necessities and to spawn new obligations. Ooh, that's an interesting sentence. Once people get used to a certain luxury, they take it for granted. Then they begin to count on it. Finally, they reach a point where they can't live without it. Let's take another familiar example from our own time. Over the last few decades, we have invented countless time-saving devices that are supposed to make life more relaxed. Washing machines, vacuum cleaners, dishwashers, telephones, mobile phones, computers, email. Previously, it took a lot of work to write a letter, address, and stamp an envelope and take it to the mailbox. It took days or weeks, maybe even months to get a reply. Nowadays, I can dash off an email, send it halfway around the globe, and if my addressee is online, receive a reply a minute later. I've saved all that trouble and time, but do I live a more relaxed life? Sadly not. Back in the snail mail era, people usually only wrote letters when they had something important to relate. Rather than writing the first thing that came into their head, they considered carefully what they wanted to say and how to phrase it. They expected to receive a similarly considered answer. Most people wrote and received no more than a handful of letters a month and seldom felt compelled to reply immediately. Today, I receive dozens of emails each day, all from people who expect a prompt reply. We thought we were saving time. Instead, we revved up the treadmill of life to 10 times its former speed and made our days more anxious and agitated. Here and there, a Luddite holdout refuses to open an email account, just as thousands of years ago some human bands refused to take up farming and so escaped the luxury trap. But the agricultural revolution didn't need every band in a given region to join up. It only took one. Once one band settled down and started tilling, whether in the Middle East or Central America, agriculture was irresistible. Since farming created the conditions for swift demographic growth, farmers could usually overcome foragers by sheer weight of numbers. The foragers could either run away, abandoning their hunting grounds to field and pasture, or take up the plowshare themselves. Either way, the old life was doomed. The story of the luxury trap carries with it an important lesson. Humanity's search for an easier life released immense forces of change that transformed the world in ways nobody envisioned or wanted. Nobody plotted the agricultural revolution or sought human dependence on cereal cultivation. A series of trivial decisions aimed mostly at filling a few stomachs and gaining a little security had the cumulative effect of forcing ancient foragers to spend their days carrying water buckets under a scorching sun. Interesting. Ooh, this talks about religion. Ooh, I'm interested. Okay. This is called divine intervention. You ready? Ready
Yep.
to be enlightened?
Yep. I just got another piece of heart.
That's amazing.
Thank you. You're so
Okay.
kind.
You're welcome. So, divine intervention. The above scenario explains the agricultural revolution as a miscalculation. It's very plausible. History is full of far more idiotic miscalculations, but there's another possibility. Maybe it wasn't the search for an easier life that brought about the transformation. Maybe sapiens had other aspirations and were consciously willing to make their lives harder in order to achieve them. Scientists usually seek to attribute historical developments to cold economic and demographic factors. It sits better with their rational and mathematical methods. In the case of modern history, scholars cannot avoid taking into account non-material factors such as ideology and culture. The written evidence forces their hand. We have enough documents, letters, and memoirs to prove that World War II was not caused by food shortages or demographic pressures. We have no documents from the Natufian culture, so when dealing with ancient periods, the materialist school reigns supreme. It is difficult to prove that pre-literate people were motivated by faith rather than economic necessity. Yet, in some rare cases, we are lucky enough to find telltale clues. In 1995, archaeologists began to excavate a site in southeast Turkey called Göbekli Tepe. I'm interested in
Wow.
Göbekli Tepe. We should watch a documentary on Göbekli Tepe because I'm genuinely interested. It's
Okay.
super. It's like
Folks.
might be the oldest settlement ever discovered. And it's got drawings on the walls of like possible deities. We don't know. In the oldest stratum, they discovered no signs of a settlement, houses, or daily activities. They did, however, find monumental pillared structures decorated with spectacular engravings. Each stone pillar weighed up to 7 tons and reached a height of 16 feet. In a nearby quarry, they found a half-chiseled pillar weighing 50 tons. Altogether, they uncovered more than 10 monumental structures, the largest of them nearly 100 feet across. Archaeologists are familiar with such monumental structures from sites around the world. The best known example is Stonehenge in Britain. Yet, as they studied Göbekli Tepe, they discovered an amazing fact. Stonehenge dates to 2500 BC and was built by a developed agricultural society. The structures at Göbekli Tepe are dated to about 9500 BC, and all available evidence indicates that they were built by hunter-gatherers. The archaeological community initially found it difficult to credit these findings, but one test after another confirmed both the early date of the structures and the pre-agricultural society of their builders. The capabilities of ancient foragers and the complexity of their culture seem to be far more impressive than was previously suspected. So it wasn't a settlement, it was just something they made? I don't know. So
I would like to watch a documentary on that.
left, one of the decorated stone pillars, about 16 feet high, right, the remains of a monumental structure from Göbekli Tepe. There's just some pictures here. Yeah, there's like straight up drawings on these things.
Oh.
And we don't know what. There's a fucking scorpion I'm seeing. And a bird with a ball. Well, there's a circle there. I don't know what that is. It's interesting to speculate. Like, what the fuck were they thinking? Okay, so why would a foraging society build such structures? They had no obvious utilitarian purpose. They were neither mammoth slaughterhouses nor places to shelter from rain or hide from lions. That leaves us with the theory that they were built for some mysterious cultural purpose that archaeologists have a hard time deciphering. Whatever it was, the foragers thought it worth a huge amount of effort and time. The only way to build Göbekli Tepe was for thousands of foragers belonging to different bands and tribes to cooperate over an extended period of time. Only a sophisticated religious or ideological system could sustain such efforts. Göbekli Tepe held another sensational secret. For many years, geneticists have been tracing the origins of domesticated meat. Recent discoveries indicate that at least one domesticated variant, einkorn meat, originated in the Karakatic Hills, less than 20 miles from Göbekli Tepe. This can hardly be a coincidence. It's likely that the cultural center of Göbekli Tepe was somehow connected to the initial domestication of wheat by humankind, and of humankind by wheat. In order to feed the people who built and used the monumental structures, particularly large quantities of food were required. It may well be that foragers switched from gathering wild wheat to intense wheat cultivation, not to increase their normal food supply, but rather to support the building and running of a temple. In the conventional picture, pioneers first built a village, and when it prospered, they set up a temple in the middle. Göbekli Tepe suggests that the temple may have been built first, and that a village later grew up around it. Ooh.
That's interesting.
Alright, I'm gonna read one more. It's called Victims of the Revolution. Are we still talking about agriculture, man? Yes, we are.
Agriculture's important, girly.
I know. Like,
we literally wouldn't be a civilization without agriculture.
Yeah, I know. So, the Faustian bargain between humans and grains was not the only deal our species made. Another deal was struck concerning the fate of animals, such as sheep, goats, pigs, and chickens. Nomadic bands that stalked wild sheep gradually altered the constitutions of the herds on which they preyed. Let me read that again. Nomadic bands that stalked wild sheep gradually altered the constitutions of the herds on which they preyed. This process probably began with selective hunting. Humans learned that it was to their advantage to hunt only adult rams or older sick sheep. They spared fertile females and young lambs in order to safeguard the long-term vitality of the local herd. The second step might have been to actively defend the herd against predators, driving away lions, wolves, and rival human bands. The band might next have corralled the herd into a narrow gorge in order to better control and defend it. Finally, people began to make a more careful selection among the sheep in order to tailor them to human needs. The most aggressive rams, those that showed the greatest resistance to human control, were slaughtered first. So were the skinniest and most inquisitive females. And in quotations it says, "Shepherds are not fond of sheep whose curiosity takes them far from the herd." With each passing generation, the sheep became fatter, more submissive, and less curious. Voila! Mary had a little lamb, and everywhere that Mary went, the lamb was sure to go. Alternatively, hunters may have caught and adopted a lamb, fattening it during the months of plenty and slaughtering it in the leaner season. At some stage, they began keeping a greater number of such lambs. Some of these reached puberty and began to procreate. The most aggressive and unruly lambs were first to the slaughter. The most submissive, most appealing lambs were allowed to live longer and procreate. The result was a herd of domesticated and submissive sheep. Such domesticated animals, sheep, chickens, donkeys, and others, supplied food, meat, milk, eggs, raw materials, skins, wool, and muscle power. Transportation, plowing, grinding, and other tasks hitherto performed by human sinew were increasingly carried out by animals. In most farming societies, people focused on plant cultivation. Raising animals was a secondary activity, but a new kind of society also appeared in some places, based primarily on the exploitation of animals, tribes of pastoralist herders. As humans spread around the world, so did their domesticated animals. 10,000 years ago, not more than a few million sheep, cattle, goats, boars, and chickens lived in restricted Afro-Asian niches. Today the world contains about 1 billion sheep, 1 billion pigs, more than 1 billion cattle, and more than 25 billion chickens, and they are all over the globe. The domesticated chicken is the most widespread fowl ever. Following Homo sapiens, domesticated cattle, pigs, and sheep are the second, third, and fourth most widespread large mammals in the world. From a narrow evolutionary perspective, which measures success by the number of DNA copies, the agricultural revolution was a wonderful boon for chickens, cattle, pigs, and sheep. Unfortunately, the evolutionary perspective is an incomplete measure of success. It judges everything by the criteria of survival and reproduction, with no regard for individual suffering and happiness. Domesticated chickens and cattle may well be an evolutionary success story, but they are also among the most miserable creatures that ever lived. The domestication of animals was founded on a series of brutal practices that only became crueler with the passing of the centuries. The natural lifespan of wild chickens is about 7 to 12 years, and of cattle about 20 to 25 years. In the wild, most chickens and cattle died long before that, but they still had a fair chance of living for a respectable number of years. In contrast, the vast majority of domesticated chickens and cattle are slaughtered at the age of between a few weeks and a few months, because this has always been the optimal slaughtering age from an economic perspective. Oof. Why keep feeding a cock for 3 years if it has already reached its maximum weight after 3 months? Egg-laying hens, dairy cows, and draught animals are sometimes allowed to live for many years, but the price is subjugation to a way of life completely alien to their urges and desires. It's reasonable to assume, for example, that bulls prefer to spend their days wandering over open prairies in the company of other bulls and cows, rather than pulling carts and plowshares under the yoke of a whip-wielding ape. In order for humans to turn bulls, horses, donkeys, and camels into obedient draught animals, their natural instincts and social ties had to be broken,
I did
their
it to
aggression
her.
and sexuality contained, and their freedom of movement curtailed. Farmers developed techniques such as locking animals inside pens and cages, bridling them in harnesses and leashes, training them with whips and cattle prods, and mutilating them. The process of taming almost always involves the castration of males, the restrains male aggression, and enables humans selectively to control the herd's procreation. Yeah, it's really sad to think about what we do to all of these fucking animals. Um, and still do. There's a picture of a painting from an Egyptian grave. 1200 BC, a pair of oxen plowing a field. In the wild, cattle roamed as they pleased in herds with a complex social structure. The castrated and domesticated ox wasted away his life under the lash and in a narrow pen, laboring alone or in pairs in a way that suited neither its body nor its social and emotional needs. When an ox could no longer pull the plow, it was slaughtered.
It's
Note the
sad.
hunched position of the Egyptian farmer who, much like the ox, spent his life in hard labor, oppressive to his body, his mind, and his social relationships.
It's sad.
Yeah, the fucking farmer is also hunched too. In many New Guinean societies, the wealth of a person has traditionally been determined by the number of pigs he or she owns. To ensure that the pigs can't run away, farmers in northern New Guinea slice off a chunk of each pig's nose. This causes severe pain whenever the pig tries to sniff. Since the pigs cannot find food or even find their way around without sniffing, this mutilation makes them completely dependent on their human owners. In another area of New Guinea, it has been customary to gouge out pigs' eyes so that they cannot even see where they're going. The dairy industry has its own way of forcing animals to do its will. Cows, goats, and sheep produce milk only after giving birth to calves, kids, and lambs, and only as long as the youngsters are suckling. To continue a supply of animal milk, a farmer needs to have calves, kids, or lambs for suckling, but must prevent them from monopolizing the milk. One common method throughout history was to simply slaughter the calves and kids shortly after birth, milk the mother for all she's worth, and then get her pregnant again. This is still a very widespread technique. In many modern dairy farms, a milk cow usually lives for about 5 years before being slaughtered. During these 5 years, she's almost constantly pregnant and is fertilized within 60 to 120 days after giving birth in order to preserve maximum milk production.
Well, that's the end of Majora's Mask for today.
Okay.
I got my heart from doing those 3 games. So next time we play, we're going back to the story. So
Okay.
join us next time.
Goodbye.
Stuff's